Hi, I'm Carol.
And I'm Dave, and we're here in the Georgia room of the Salt Table here in Savannah, our new wine tasting bar. And today we're going to talk about salt plates and all of the great things you can do with them.
We like to talk about the salt in a lot of different ways, but the first thing that we tell people is it's about 200 million years old. It comes out of the base of the Himalayan Mountains. You can see that there's different colorations in the salt, and the colors come from the trace minerals. 84 trace minerals are in the salt. Primarily iron oxide is what gives it that pink color.
Right, and that's good for you. A lot of other minerals in here, and this is a great way to cook your food or use that as a cutting board. Those are the two primary
So yeah,
uses.
you can use it as a cutting board. You can put your food directly on here, and while you're cutting it, it'll season your food. Or you can use it like a cooking stone. You can put it on your grill or in your oven, heat it up really hot. Now you want to make sure that you heat it up with the grill.
That's right.
And when you do, you get it hot, and then it seasons and sears your food while you're cooking it. Very cool.
Yeah, it's and the nice thing about it is it's very easy to care for. You never wash this, never put soap on it. You just rinse it off. If there is any food on it, you just scrape that off with the side of a spatula. It's salt, so it's antimicrobial.
Nothing lives or grows on salt. So it'll take care of most of those bacteria for you. You know, when you have a cutting board, you always kind of worry about the fact that it's going to go bad. Well, you don't have to worry about your cutting board when it is salt. And you do want to make sure that you keep it on another surface, not just directly on your counter, because remember, it is salt. So you want to make sure that you protect your surface from any type of potential corrosion.
That's right. And you can bring these to your table after they're heated up and do a little fondue. The thicker ones, like this stone here, is about 2 inches thick. And these will hold the temperature for a really long time, long enough for you to enjoy your meal. And you can put little skewers of scallops or a shish kebab or shrimp or little slices of beef and chicken. These all just cook wonderfully. And a lot of times customers will ask, well, doesn't it make things salty? And the answer is yes, but in a very delicate way if you use these properly. And properly means make them as hot as you can, as long as you can. And then you sear your food and cook it quickly. So you tend to cut thinner slices of food so that you don't have the raw in the middle of all that. So that's how these are used.
Another way people like to use them, food presentations. So you want to present a beautiful tray of sushi. You could freeze this, put it in your freezer, and it's going to retain the cold from the freezer and keep your foods cold, and put a little bit of that seasoning in your food as well. People do fruit trays, cheese trays using the salt plates. Very, very nice presentations, very nice for entertaining.
It's fun to cook on them as well, and it's a conversation piece. It's a way to bring a topic to the table, and everyone, while they're eating, love to discuss how the food was made, and you'll be a hit at all your parties. We have one customer that makes a really neat recipe called drunken shrimp, and they soak their fresh shrimp in vodka, and then they cook them on here, and it's just an amazing flavor. So there are a lot of uses for these. They last a really long time. Over time, you'll notice there's some fissures in here, and that they do separate after a period of time. That may take a few years, but at some point they will get less desirable to you, and when you reach that point, just grab a hammer, break up the pieces in small chunks, and Carol, show them what they can do.
Well, you can grate your salt. So yeah, remember that it is salt. It is totally consumable. So you can take it, you can use a very fine micro plane, something that's going to be good for hard spices. You don't want to use your zesters for cheese because that would tear them up. But then you can grate your salt, grate it directly over your food, use your salt that way. You can take the chunk and put it in liquids and season your liquids that way too. But you can grate it, grind it. Eventually you can even crush it up and use it as a fine shaker salt. So again, it's totally consumable. Many of our customers, they ask us, well, how long is this going to last?
Well, they last any length of time. The thinner ones obviously last a shorter period of time than the thick ones. But Carol and I have been using the same two. We have one in our oven, one on our countertop. We use one for cooking, one for cutting board. And that's essentially how we use them at home. We have some thin ones out on our grill, out on the barbecue. But they will last several years. Ours has been about 5 or 6 years now. Ours actually cracked about midway and to about 3 years into use. We just push it back together. We got a little baker's tray that it sits on. It just stays in our oven. We really enjoy using it. The cutting board we use almost every day, and you can see a little bevel in it already that develops over time because it chips away a little bit of the salt. But that's what seasons your food. So they're really excellent products. You'll
Very versatile, very versatile.
If you think about gift giving, if you have a foodie in your family or friend, this is the perfect item. It's something they probably don't have, and if they get it, they'll love it. And we also have a book that we sell, which is the book on the subject, called the Salt Block Cooking Book. And it's an excellent book. We usually have those in stock, and gives you all the A to Z on how to use the salt blocks.
How to take care of it, all different recipes, so that you can get a lot of good ideas about different things that you can do with it. Curing foods to presentations to just beautifying your workspaces in your kitchen.
So people say, well, what can you cook on it? Well, you can cook vegetables on it. You can cut vegetables on it. You can cut tomatoes, melons, strawberries, cheese, bread, anything that you would cut on a normal cutting board. And if it's a damp thing like a cucumber or cheeses or any other kind of fruit or vegetable, cheese, it will actually infuse the salt into those products, and you'll really enjoy them. Particularly fruits are amazing. Watermelons, strawberries, melons, and so on.
Customers say, well, won't heat dissolve the salt? So they think that using heat on it will dissolve it.
That it will melt or something.
It will melt, but no, the only thing that will dissolve the salt is moisture. So when salt, you put the food on the salt, moisture from the salt will dissolve a little bit of the salt. And the way salt works is it replaces moisture with salt. That's why it was the original preservative. That's how people preserve their food before refrigeration. So again, that little bit of salt will go into your foods and seasoning it, and then the moisture will dissolve the salt. So that's how over time it will start to dissolve and erode, but again, it's totally consumable. So you can use it for many years and get a lot of enjoyment and a lot of salt out of that.
People say, how do you care for it? Well, the way to care for it is basically use a damp cloth, run it quickly under the sink. Anything sticks to it, we just kind of scratch it off with the side of a spatula. Never put soap on it. That would just absolutely damage the block. You'd never want to use it again, because salt blocks do absorb the things that are on them as well. So
at one time, Dave put it in the dishwasher, and when we opened the dishwasher up again, guess what?
It was gone. But she just made that up. I read a book that said don't do that. So, so the salt blocks are very versatile. They're fun. They add a real new dimension to your food. They're a conversation piece. They're a great gift to give to people. They last forever. They're easy to care for, and they're really inexpensive. This one here is about $14.95. This one here is $59.95. This one here weighs about 20 pounds. This one weighs probably 2 or 3 pounds. So, and there, as you can see, there are several sizes. We have a number of different sizes, and they come in other forms as well. They're round salt plates, and also, this is a really neat item. If you can look at this, everybody thinks that's a candle holder. Well, it isn't. This is a tequila shot glass. So you freeze this, put your tequila in it, take a shot. I thought it was a crazy idea. Honestly, we sell a whole bunch of them, and Oprah recently recommended these as a really cool Christmas present. So we went through a lot of them this past Christmas.
So what I like about the Himalayan salt is the purity of the salt, the clarity of the flavor. It's not processed. There's nothing added to it. It's not iodized. It's not stripped of its minerals. It's all still right there for you. So nothing is added to it. Nothing is taken away. It's just pure salt.
And she just hit on something that's probably the most important quality of Himalayan salt. And that is, in most cooking, if you can taste the salt, you probably use too much. Salt is meant to be a flavor enhancer, sort of like a natural MSG. Well, with a salt plate, Himalayan salt, as compared to all the other salts, in our opinion, is the most amazing, because it brings out the flavor of food like no other salt, like no other seasoning. So you're not only adding a slight salty flavor, but you're really super enhancing the flavor of whatever it is, whether it be shrimp or lobster or corn on the cob or whatever it is. It brings out that flavor, and particularly I mentioned earlier, fruit. Unbelievable. So it's the perfect natural product, It's going to be around for thousands of years, and it has been around up until this point in time, literally 200 million years since
Give or take a million.
Yeah, give or take a million, that's right.
One thing that we like to tell people is, you know, you want to buy good healthy food, and you spend a lot of money buying good steaks, good chicken, good fish, vegetables that you cook. So why in the world would you want to use anything less than the best salt on your food that you buy?
Absolutely.
Well, that's all we have for today, talking about our Himalayan pink salt flakes.
Yep, but come back again real soon. We'll talk about some of our other products down here in the Georgia room, where we feature a lot of great products from the Georgia and South Carolina area. Have a great day, and we'll be talking to you real soon.